is I simply call interval cubes, oriental trading. And what I have the kids do is give a little toss. They're standing at the piano, hard to see back there, so I'll hold it up. They're standing at the piano and they give a little toss. They land on 5. So I say, I'd like you to start on C, and whatever cube you turn over, I just want you to go up whatever it is. So then, of course, they'll play G, the 5th, and then they'll toss it again. Let's say they get a 2. Then they start on C, and the next note is D. So it's just a little interval relay. Let's say it's 4, so it's F. And then maybe 1, where they stay on C. So of course they go all the way up to 6. Now the second round, which is usually this, I have a game a month. So the second round, I have them do a toss. I say start on C, go up 4, do another toss, but make 4 your base now, and go up a 5th. So we go that way, and then like that. And then the next week I might go down, let's go down the intervals like that. So it's just a really quick interval study, and it only takes a minute to play. I had one of my girls just on Tuesday. We were doing this really quickly at the end. She's probably 12. She still enjoys the games. And I said, can you think of anything else that we could do with these cubes? And she said, yeah, since we do a game a month, we should each have a piece of manuscript paper and jot down all of the notes that we play in the month. And then at the end of the month, try to make a song out of it. Oh. I thought, wow, that's a great idea, and why didn't I think of that? But that's kind of a fun idea. You could actually do that as a start of a composition. So yeah, that's just kind of fun. All right, 66 to 68. Just want to make mention of a book series that has been out for a little while, but I did want to just make mention of it because it's been really, I've just had a lot of good comments about it. But E.L. Lancaster and Gail Kowalczyk and myself, we did these Piano for Busy Teen books. We started out with 1, 2, and 3, and then people wrote in and said, boy, I wish you had like a little bit easier than book 1. And so we did books A and B, and those are kind of preteen, Piano for Busy preteens. But these books were designed, it says right in there too, for students that maybe don't have a lot of time to practice. They love piano. They love coming to you for piano. They want to progress. They want to get better. They want to do good repertoire. They want to learn good repertoire. But they just are very limited in their practice time for whatever reason. I teach in a little town of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. We only have about 8,000 people in that town. But my students are very busy. And I often think about them as having a pie of life, I call it, where they have academics, sports, dance, band, orchestra, choir, high school musical, part-time job, social life, piano, a little tiny slice of their pie of life, And I'm super happy that they still consider piano important and everything, but it has really caused a switch in my thinking and how I do lessons to provide for them the same kind of quality materials and classics, supplementary, whatever it is, and to interest them and keep them going and allow them to progress at the rate they can. And so, but the real unique feature, these books have, again, all it says in your, they have, I did the jazz, blues, ballads, showstoppers, and classical themes, but then each book has a famous masterwork in its original form, a hand and exercise, and a duet. So the books are really packed with a lot of repertoire. But what's really unique about them is the study guide that E.L. and Gail created. They start out with a 1-minute FYI talking about the piece or the composer. Then they've chosen different passages from the piece to use as a warm-up, and there's a 5-minute warm-up, extracted difficult passages to use as a warm-up, and then a 15-minute practice plan where I just sit down with the student and I say, what does your week look like? Now, do you work a lot of hours, or do you have a special rehearsals or concerts or dance recitals or whatever? And then I say, well, let's look at the piece. Can you give me the first 4 bars or the first 8 bars? Really, really solid next week. And then let's also work on that really hard, difficult scale passage at the end, or the coda or something. And we write it down, and that's not in stone, but I mean, at least it's a goal to have them work for. And you can follow along the weeks if they want to. And then 5-minute finishing touch they put at the end in case the student wants to perform it. So there's just it's been a lot of fun to have that as a resource. And in the study guide, on a clear night, for instance, is book A. And you can see the level of that one is about transitional, late elementary to early intermediate. But over on page 67 out of book 1, Midnight Ride, is the showstopper piece. Book 2, right across the page there, Twilight, is more of a straight intermediate. And this, of course, is the ballad of this. That is the arranged classic, and then over on the far left bottom is the jazz piece. And those are out of book 3, of course, so book 3 gets a little bit more of like the late intermediate. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. Anybody use the Busy Teen books in here yet? So good. Well, thank you very much. And I think if you kind of page through them, you're like, oh wow, that's kind of a neat concept. So hopefully, then I'll have you go to 77. 77 has a couple of new duets. I'll have Todd or Catherine, either one, come up. And they both just to give you a little idea, these were both commissioned duets. This first one, up in the top here, Memories of Yesterday, is the first movement of a piece from, well, it was in memory of a teacher from Emporia, Kansas. And so this one is more, you know, the lyrical style, and then the second movement is more like a march. So, but here's a little bit of this one since it's in your sampler. And then the other one, right beneath it, the Jubilation Overture, is also a commissioned piece from the group in Wichita, Kansas. They were celebrating 30 years of service to their musical community, and they asked me to write a piece that they could perform as a multi-piano or, you know, a monster concert. And so as you listen to this one, you'll see, oh, it's pretty straightforward. I think most intermediate students could pick it up and learn it quite quickly. But if it was conducted, it's I know I've been a conductor of those before, and I would just like to start it out and keep it going. So you'll hear that with this little piece too. There we go. know, I'm sorry. I told them that would be mostly, elementary things. It definitely wasn't, so I apologize for that. Okay, well, I'm gonna have you put all your materials down for a minute, if you would, and just stand up. You've been most kind and attentive audience, but you can only sit so long. So go ahead and just stand up, put your materials down. Take your right hand, if you would, just put it straight up in the air like this. Right arm straight up, go up and down. Up, down, up, down. Switch to the left, go up, down, up. Turn and face this wall. In front of you, you'll see a fellow piano teacher's back that needs rubbing. Switch. All right, face me and let's alternate. Right, left, go right, left, and reach. Swim out front now. Swim, swim. March in place. March, march, and lift those knees. And sit down. Anybody know the name of that piece? Alley Cat, yeah. Oldie but a goodie. I remember my brother playing that years ago, and then I played it by ear, and he got really mad. Now you have in your seats a little handout with a little star on it. It says practice tips, and so go ahead and take out that little sheet of paper and open it up. Just take a second to find it. There will be a sheet that says practice tips at the top. As you're doing that, I just thought it'd be kind of fun on this workshop to just just have some fun with some practice strategies here today. I did a lot of reading on old MTNA articles as well as just other blogs and websites, and one of them was called pianoforkids.com with Dan Delaney it was called, and Donna Gross Javel, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, had a site called Anything Piano, and it was just kind of fun because there was teachers' responses and parents as well. And so I just devised a little list for you all. These are just the top answers. Family Feud, the top answers in all of these categories. And the first one is things to share with parents of young students. Sometimes I'll get my parents together in the fall, we have kind of an open house, refreshments, and I will share things like this with them. But some of my colleagues do newsletters, and that's another good way of getting the word out for little things that the parents can do to help the kids practice when they're very young. So number one, short exposures and regular practice, daily practice, because there was a question about, well, is it okay if they miss 2 or 3 days? And all of the sites said no, daily problem, take off Saturday or Sunday or whatever, but all of the sites said no, daily practice, but maybe shorter exposures. Don't set the timer for 40 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever.